Hey, what's going on, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People podcast. It is Monday, November 9th. It is still 2020, unfortunately, but it's Victory Monday here on the show, and I'm happy to celebrate it with Adam Carlson.
What's up, we've been doing this multi-square thing long before it got cool.
That's true. That's a true statement.
And that's Kyle West. He is the base of this upside-down pyramid, and we need him, otherwise the show would crumble.
Yeah, why isn't our pyramid a pyramid?
I don't know. It's really weird. We can play around and do this little thing here, but I don't like that. I definitely don't like that.
Don't do that one.
We're going to go back to that one. That's what happens when they leave me in control to click all the buttons here. But this is episode number 414 of the Purple People podcast, Inglorious Staffords. I feel bad for Matt Stafford. I really do.
He's a good quarterback.
Wasted career.
Like, yeah, totally wasted career. I saw a meme about that the other day. I don't think that Matt Stafford's going in the Hall of Fame, but definitely it was Julio shaking hands with Larry Fitzgerald. Is like, hey man, how's your wasted career? It's like, yeah, how's your wasted career? I feel so bad for both of those guys.
At least Fitz got to play in a Super Bowl with Kurt Warner.
Yeah, and Julio went to that one where Atlanta definitely blew a 28-3 lead, so that's fun.
I'm not going to write Arizona off this year yet.
Oh, they're fun. And what I watched, the bits and pieces that I watched from that game between them and the Dolphins, it's one of the most entertaining of the year. So
that Dolphins defense is legit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad that we don't have them for at least another 2 years.
You know who I feel bad for? Calvin Johnson. That dude never even hardly got to sniff the playoffs. In Detroit.
Yeah. That's rough. I think so Matt Stafford, they said, that was a cool little footnote they said for this game. By the way, the Vikings won Sunday. They beat the Lions, which they've done pretty handily the last couple of years.
That's not how Jameis does it.
Yeah, you got to eat the W, man.
I ain't gonna. That Corona's still going around. I ain't putting my fingers in my mouth.
What's up, Mike? I know you messaged on the side. I checked the messages today. I'm glad you get to join us. I don't think anybody's turning Detroit around. I think they're in a very big carousel of rebuild all the time. They just get they play with heart, but God, they just don't have enough talent for them to win a lot of games.
The Lions should never have hired Matt Patricia.
No.
Yeah,
and I've ripped on it since they made that announcement, and I will continue ripping on it when they don't make a change.
What's up, John? Thanks for joining us, too. And Skull Prod up there.
The Bill Belichick coaching tree is just awful.
It doesn't work the same, man.
No.
And I get it. You want to recreate something like New England, but I think people get too greedy, and they want to say, well, we're going to make New England again in Detroit. It's like, maybe you're not, though. Even look at the guys like Pete Carroll. He'll go in the Hall of Fame for all the wins that he has. He's got a great quarterback that he's definitely realized early on, we got to build around this guy. But even him, he's only made it to 2 Super Bowls, and he only won one of them. Hasn't been close to it since. So, I mean, playoffs, sure, but they haven't been in an NFC Championship game in, 4 or 5 years?
I don't know. I know they're annual playoff contenders.
Yeah, they're contenders. I'll give them that, which is higher than probably what the Vikings are every other year. But consistently going to those championship games and those Super Bowls, it's crazy how people try to cherry pick from Bill Belichick out there, but we're going to recreate this. And it never works. Never works.
And it's weird to pick apart the pieces of what's going on there and see how each piece works, because Tom Brady didn't work this week, that's for sure.
Yeah, Tom Brady. That was embarrassing.
Really, Bill? Is that all it is? But even Bill's not doing too swell.
You know what? I call it an anomaly because there's 2 ends of the spectrum there. Since this is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers podcast today, it's weird how Tom went to build a super team, yet they ran into some stiff competition last night. But Bill was just like, yeah, we'll pay Cam Newton, former MVP, the league minimum, and I'm not getting any players because I don't care. So. I think they're just in full effort mode, and they'll worry about getting a young stud quarterback next year. And I wonder, because it's very against New England's nature to trade up and give away a lot of draft picks, but Bill's not getting any younger. I would not be surprised if they gave up some draft capital to go after a young stud, and he's like, hey, I'm going to give you 5 years. We're going to go win one more just because I want to prove that I'm it. That's what Tom's doing, right? He wants to stick it to him and win without New England. That's exactly what he wanted to do. So,
oh yeah, and then they went all in on the super team.
Brady killed my fantasy team, bro. Tampa Bay killed their own team last night. That was one of the worst games I've ever seen. It was bad. Tennessee. Oh yeah, Mike Vrabel. He's a good coach. True. I don't know if they're going to beat the Chiefs, though. I mean, they got lucky last year. They caught a dying New England team. They matched up well against Baltimore, but I don't think they're going to beat the Chiefs. That's kind of purgatory right there. I think that's the ceiling. They got some good players, though.
They got a pretty good formula. I mean, I don't see any reason why they couldn't knock them off. I'm not going to – but then again, I also thought that Pittsburgh was going to run away with the game this week, so I don't know. What were they? 14-point favorites?
Squander away to – I don't even know the quarterback's name that played this week in Dallas.
I don't know.
Who knows? But what I do know is the Vikings looked really, really good against the Lions on Sunday. It was awesome. Here for the game cast, I'm going to scroll down. There were 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Field goal and a touchdown from Detroit in the second quarter. Another touchdown, a third quarter touchdown, a fourth quarter touchdown from the Vikings. And Adam, I'm going to let you run with this because I know you're going to be able to talk about this more in depth than I am. But we have the Gary Kubiak scheme, the zone blocking stuff. There was a lot of power running yesterday.
Oh, yes.
And it was awesome.
Dalvin Cook, it's nice to see Garrett Bradbury. Mm-hmm. He's continuing to kind of improve little by little, and it's been slow. But it's been getting a lot more noticeable. And it's like that right side of the line. It's really excelling because everything from Bradbury to O'Neal with Ezra Cleveland on that right side, there is some mauling going on over there.
Very excited to see. And we've been bitching about this because, the fans, of course, they know everything the coaches don't know. They wanted to get Ezra Cleveland in as soon as possible, but they had to do some shuffling, and I understand the Vikings wanted to evaluate talent. Pat Elflein was out. You wonder who you're going to plug in where. But at least for the last 2 weeks and people getting healthy for that early bye that this team had, this seems to be the unit that's going to work.
It does. I'm still not sold on Pat Elflein.
Right.
I hope that he can return to form, but it's been a while since I've seen him play really well. And but the good news is that this offensive line right now is built for running, and the Vikings seem to have a pretty good duo there at running back. So, yeah, they're getting things done. Or should I say trio this week, I guess. A third running back got in the end zone.
I wanted so bad to name this show after Amir Abdullah, but if I would have called it Abdullah with his last name Oblongata, I couldn't live with myself, as terrible and cheesy as that is.
I kind of like it.
Great football movie reference.
See, now you got to save it for the next time he does something great, and who knows when that'll be.
Once a year, if he even sticks to the team next year. I'm terrible. I'm not as witty as Adam, so I just steal fantasy football names from Google if I can't find a direct reference or something that rhymes. So this is what we got this week.
By the way, I'll repeat it again this week. Dalvin Cook is nominated for FedEx Ground Player of the Week. You can go to their site and you can vote for him. And I'll be absolutely honest, there is nobody that even touched what Dalvin Cook did this week. So I expect him to get back-to-back Ground Player of the Week awards.
We're going to jump through and talk about the game. We're going to preview the Bears game coming up on Monday Night Football, which is the bane of the Vikings' existence. But Adam already kind of alluded to a little bit what I was talking about with the power run, Dalvin Cook. My takeaway from this game is the special teams really pissed me off. Austin Cutting is not cutting it, but I definitely think that will come back to bite the Vikings in the ass later on if they keep that up, which I'm sure they'll address this week. But surprisingly, Desmond Trufant did a really good job against Adam Thielen, which was weird. Thought it was going to be more of the Jeff Okudah, Justin Jefferson showdown, but Dalvin Cook stole the show again. Eric Kendricks is still amazing. And, hey, Eric Wilson is a very good linebacker, if you didn't know. So that's my takeaway from the game. Kyle, you got to watch it after work. What did you think when you caught up yesterday?
I watched the full replay on NFL Game Pass, which is really cool that you can do that. If you miss a game, you can just sit down and watch it on your own time. It's a really big benefit. We're really critical of Mike Zimmer when this defense is not playing well, and we should be. We should be critical of him. I actually want to commend Minnesota a little bit. That secondary is absolutely beat and banged up, and Mike Zimmer's got them out there running the Tampa 2, which is essentially the last thing that Vikings fans want to think about if we think of how that went with Leslie Frazier. And you know what? He's doing the best he can with what he's got, and we're seeing this defense kind of starting to play a little bit better, figuring it out a little bit out there on defense. So I wanted to.
And you got to give it a little bit to Jeff Gladney because he is taking on that tackling role in the secondary the way that Mike Hughes had been, and it is showing how much he's evolving so quickly.
Tackling fuel.
Yes.
As far as John Young's comment here. We're talking about Ezra Cleveland at guard, and of course the Minnesota Vikings don't want him to play guard. What they want to do is they want to draft a young player, and they want to move him to offensive tackle to save money for a few years, and improving and getting younger. And of course that's a move that any team would want to make, but when you find something that's working, it's hard to move things around too much.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of continually shuffling players around like that. Like, if you wanted Ezra Cleveland to be your left tackle, then play him at left tackle. I
still have no exactly idea of what position Rashad Hill plays.
I thought he was a swing tackle, but I could be wrong.
So they got Cleveland at right guard, Adam?
Yeah.
They got him at right guard at the moment, and he seems to be playing well at that position. Based on the few games we've seen him. So maybe just continue playing him at right guard and not move him around and expect him to learn an entirely different position again. Like, can we just keep developing these players where they are?
Well, I guess that depends on if they think they can get anything in trade for Riley Reif this offseason, or if they're just going to let him walk, or what the situation is going to be, because I know that so many teams want to save money on that left tackle position, and if they can, they will.
So this is interesting, and that's why I left John's comment up here, and I'll get to you guys in a second. But I like this comment a lot. That's why I left it up, and I've been clicking around. I think this is exactly what the Vikings are going to do. They are married to Kirk Cousins, which we talked about in recent episodes, especially when he played terrible not too long ago. I think this is exactly what they should do. They should bolster the line. You have to protect your investment and then draft his replacement in 2022. And I'm sorry for you guys that want to tank for Trevor, but I'm on tankathon.com. And right now, the Vikings are 3-5, and they're at the 13th overall pick. That's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
No. They're going to be right in the middle, around 18 to 21, 22 at the best. I think the Vikings are going to split out and go 500 this year. I do see 3 more losses on the schedule, to include the Monday night game coming up, just because. Prove me wrong, I guess. But to get up to where the Jets, the Jaguars, the Cowboys, the Giants, and the football team is from Washington, you're going to have to give up a shitload of draft capital, and they don't need to do that. You don't need to bear it away unless you know I've got the next Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, or whoever, and that's just not going to happen. I would even be okay with not getting Trevor Lawrence, personally getting Justin Fields, but that's going to be a number 2 pick right there. Is it going to be worth it to give it up?
Hey, I'm going to save Adam a whole bunch of work over at the Viking age. They're going to draft a corner. They're going to draft a corner in the first round. There's your predictions, everyone. You don't really need to make them. That's what they're going to do.
I don't want them to, not in the very, very first, but you know what, Kyle? It makes a ton of sense.
That's the biggest need for this team right now.
So these are good comments here. Andrew, I'm going to get to yours in just a second about Everson Griffin and Adrian Peterson. Reef's consistency year to year scares me. He's doing well this year, but ... He's also 31.
Right.
I love the guy to death, but if you were going to amass on something, it's kind of like Anthony Harris last year. You should have gotten what you could out of him before, because he ain't getting any younger. But he is knock on wood, he is playing pretty good this year. This is a great one. Is Terrence Newman a coach?
No. I Googled.
I Googled. So.
He is not currently a coach for this team.
He actually approached the Vikings to say that he was interested in playing safety this year.
Yeah.
Nothing became of it, but it happened.
That would be such a better role for him, too, even though he's like, what, 40, 42? How old is he?
41.
He doesn't age.
No. It's all that red wine.
It's the cupping. All the amazing athletes that I know, they're into the cupping.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy. Super Bowl teams projected right now, New Orleans and Pittsburgh. That would be a hell of a matchup. Conference championship losers, Green Bay, Kansas City. Yeah, the Vikings are still down at 13. They're in that Detroit, Atlanta, Denver sea of sadness.
Well, with this win, the Vikings leapfrog the Lions to put the Lions in the cellar of the NFC North based on head-to-head and division wins. So next week, the Vikings play the Bears. The Vikings cannot leapfrog Chicago with a win, but they can narrow the margin to one game, which is already looking kind of good, especially if the Bears take on some tough opponents. And the expansion of the playoffs from 6 teams is another thing to pay attention to, because you might not have to be a team that's a 10, 11 win team to get in the playoffs.
So it's not terrible for the Bears, but I think the Vikings are going to compete with them for a wild card here. So they host the Vikings coming up. They are at Lambeau. The Packers should beat the brakes off of them pretty easily. The Lions, they should have won the first meeting, but the Lions in Chicago, I don't like that matchup. The Texans aren't that good. They play us again. The Jaguars and the Packers. So they could probably win 3 or 4 out of those the last 7. I think the Vikings, if they play like I expect them to play, they're going to have some hiccups and these injuries. I'm just making a projection, you guys, and then we'll get into game balls and donkeys because we've almost gotten away from that. I think the Vikings are going to go 8-8. I really like these matchups coming up, especially that 3-game stretch against Dallas. Carolina will be tough. The Jaguars, not so much. They have a real good chance. If this team, let's just talk about the future headline. If this team makes the playoffs after a 1-5 start,
what a turnaround.
I would love to start digging through Twitter and start calling some people out, because, man, there are a lot of people going with the axe up there to the front office.
I have a question for you guys that I don't know the answer to, so I got to ask you guys. Have the Falcons lost once they've gotten Julio back?
Ooh. No.
Because guess what? They're a good team with Julio in that lineup. And I know a lot of people were joking about how bad Atlanta is. But I don't think they've lost since his return.
He played against the Vikings, correct?
That was his return game, yeah.
They did. They lost by 1 point to the Lions, but they did beat the Panthers, and then they beat the Broncos. So they are 3 of 4 since he came back. They won at home against the Broncos. They beat the Panthers in Carolina. I believe they swept the Panthers this year. Nope. They have split. Yeah, that's a good point.
So, the Vikings did take that loss, and at the time, Atlanta looked pretty sorry. But once they changed their coaches and they got their star player back, man, it's a whole different team.
Do we get the 3 seed? I don't think so, John, based on the number of losses. I mean, some of those losses were out of conference, but they'll have more wins than the Vikings will this year. So I am not.
Well, where that depends on is the first tiebreaker will be head-to-head. So if Minnesota doesn't beat Green Bay in the second matchup, because they split against Green Bay this year, right?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay, so then it goes down to division record. And if the Vikings go 5-1 in the division, they will have the playoff spot, which right now you got to kind of root for those other NFC North teams to beat the Packers. And the Packers are a beat-up team right now.
Yeah, they are.
They're struggling. Now would be the time for an NFC North opponent to get in there and do what they can to make things happen. And who knows?
Right now, I'm still on Tankathon because it goes from worst to first here. Right now, the god-awful Philadelphia Eagles would get in, which is just baffling to me, and they need to reshape all of this. I don't care about having 7 teams. That's fine, but let's take records because this team is absolute garbage. The Arizona Cardinals, Miami Dolphins, is that the Rams? Yeah, the Rams, the Raiders, the Titans.
That Goff contract keeps coming back and just haunting.
And they don't have a first-round pick. It says Jacksonville. I was like, Jacksonville's not 22. It's the Rams that are shadowed out here.
Speaking of that, the Gardner Minshew benching worked out pretty well this week as they played a team with absolutely no defense.
This is how the seeds would work right now. And this is crazy because this is how tight, and I love the idea. I was opposed to it at first, but maybe I can zoom in and just show you guys the screen here if I can zoom in for just a second. But this right here, while I share the screen with you guys, 1 second. Technology is not my friend. Let's go to Tankathon here and share. So right here, let's take a look at these. This is what separates right now. Now, of course, this is going to change later with more wins. The 7 seed is 1 win less than the number 1 who gets a bye. That bye is super crucial right now. Same number of wins here, 6-2. The Seattle Seahawks would host the Rams. That's a divisional game, kind of cool. I love this matchup here, and this is going to change, obviously. But Arizona would present all sorts of problems for Green Bay because if you got somebody who can run around, we kind of figured out, depending on how bad the weather is, if you can run around a lot, Green Bay, you can definitely run on them. And here, of course, Tom Brady gets a gift in the playoffs because why wouldn't he? Philadelphia is garbage. But you see how crucial these buys are now? This is going to be amazing. Like this matchup over here in the AFC, Miami at Kansas City. That would be a problem for the Chiefs, and I am there to watch that.
Hey, I like the expanded playoff format too.
Absolutely. Look at this.
More playoff
Wild card weekend here.
Yeah.
Wild card weekend here. The rematch again of the divisional round last year of the Ravens at the Tennessee Titans. This is insane. I love this. Whoever thought of this, I'm sorry I doubted you. All right, Cleveland at right guard looks good. Yes, he does, Jerome. Too bad the Niners couldn't get that done. Ooh. Sorry for them. They have a lot of injuries too. Like half of their team is.
Oh, yes.
But let's go ahead and do some game balls and donkeys here. I'll let you guys go ahead and go first because I wasn't prepared, but I did want to get this in before we forget about it.
All right, I'll give mine to – I don't get to do this a lot, so Brian O'Neill. I love giving game balls to offensive linemen, especially after how much the offensive line has struggled over the past couple of years. So Brian O'Neill is just – I've enjoyed watching him play, watching him come in and just play at a consistently high level, even when the players next to him keep changing jerseys and you never know who's going to be there. And he's been a consistent force at right tackle, and he's been opening up some holes in the run game while doing his best to protect the edge. And there hasn't been a lot of pressure coming from the right side of Kirk Cousins this year. So he can kind of take a little bit of a breath when he's looking that way. But unfortunately, he did get a pretty big blindside hit during the Lions game when the left side of his protection kind of got out-schemed a little bit. So it's all about keeping Kirk Cousins upright and giving him time to make passes. And this offensive line is doing a great job. And I wish I could give it to all the offensive linemen, but by rule, I can only pick one.
Yeah, have a game, offensive line. What a great little gel and crew they have right now. Hopefully it stays the same. What about you, Kyle? What did you see that stood out to you yesterday?
I mean, sometimes the obvious answer is obvious for a reason. I got to give one to Dalvin Cook. You look at the two back-to-back games that he's had might be the best that any Vikings running back has had, and that says something because we've had some damn good running backs. Chuck Foreman, Adrian Peterson. That's a darn good 2-game stretch.
Matt Asiata.
Robert Smith. I mean, the Vikings have had some damn good running backs out there. What Cook is doing, his vision, his ability to see the field and to make cuts is phenomenal. And guess what? He's getting help out there from the offensive line. They're out there mauling people out in front of him, opening lanes and holes for Cook. It's a good combination.
Right now, Dalvin Cook, if he was to continue this pace, which, Mike, that's a great question. We're going to talk about this in just a second. I'm going to keep that up there. He's on pace to have like 1,800 yards and like 28 touchdowns. Now, obviously, he's just on a tear right now, and the Vikings have kind of figured out a formula. And when they do it well, they do it better than I think anyone in the business right now. But there's still going to be some games where he's going to get taken out of the equation or at least limited. I think the Saints are going to do a good job of that. I think the Bears have the potential to do that at least one of the games, probably this one coming up. But he's definitely going to get over 1,000 yards, which is the mark you want to get. And he's already into double-digit touchdowns. He's got, 11 on the year? And there were years Adrian Peterson had over 1,000 yards. He didn't have double-digit touchdowns. And we're at the halfway mark. So I think if Dalvin Cook gets up to the 18, 19, 20 touchdown range, there's really no debate that this extension was worth it. And it's just a matter of health now. If he can stay healthy, then let's go, man. He is the offense. So
I mean, health has always been the concern with him. I don't think anyone has ever said, I don't know if he can get it done on the field. He's always been able to get it done on the field. It's just keeping him healthy. And when he's healthy, you can make a case for him for being the best running back in the league right now. He's in that conversation when he's on the field.
He's CJ Ham's favorite player.
Yeah.
And that means something to all of us.
Yes, it does.
My game ball's going to Eric Wilson. Have yourself a damn day, sir. 13 total tackles, 8 solo, half a sack, half a tackle for loss, 1 pass defended, and 1 quarterback hit. Holy shit, man. This dude was balling yesterday.
I've been talking about it on this podcast for the last couple of weeks. Those linebackers from Minnesota, once Anthony Barr went down and Eric Kendricks and Eric Wilson were left in there, and they tried as hard as they could to get another back in there to patrol the field. Those Erics have been absolutely working their butts off to cover that field and make tackles. Now, is it nice that some of the members of the secondary are stepping up too? Of course, Jeff Gladney stepping up almost out of almost nowhere to come out and be a tackling machine. And of course, you've still got Harrison Smith, who continues to get stupid flags, but that's something for another time. And you've got Anthony Harris, who probably won't be a Viking next year, but is playing himself into what will most likely be a really nice contract somewhere else.
It was hard for me, watching Dalvin do his thing and watching the offensive line push people around was fun, but watching the defense, they don't have a lot at the moment. They were going in 2-5 to this game. They didn't have a lot to play for at the moment. You might have this small percentage chance going to the playoffs. There was a lot of turmoil early on, especially when they were like 1-4, 1-5. These guys just keep balling out, and I think they finally are figuring out what they can do with this team. Now, this is definitely a bend, not break defense, not what we're used to. Kyle mentioned it before with the Tampa 2, Vikings fans aren't really fond of that. Mike Zimmer's since he's been here, has done a lot of, hey, man, we're going to do a lot of man. We're going to do a lot of double-A gap blitzes. We're going to do all this. But I think for this particular team, they've kind of figured, hey, this is what we have to roll with. This is some basic shit for these young guys and these fourth-string corners we have. But these linebackers are the heart and soul right now. And I love this guy. I don't know if he's going to be here next year. We were talking about that in our personal chat. Didn't he get tagged, you said, Adam?
Yes.
He may not be on the team next year, which is heartbreaking, but hey, I like the guy, and he balled the hell out, and he's getting my game ball, and that's it. That's what I'm sticking with.
Another player that you probably could have made an argument for that had a bit of a coming out game is Irv Smith Jr.
Yeah, he did.
I almost gave a game ball to Irv Smith, Adam. I really did.
You know why
I didn't? That his catches for the touchdowns were important. His blocking was huge, and that he's really stepping into his role as a tight end in a run-first offense very well. You could also argue Kirk Cousins for making a lot of the throws that he did, not making any mistakes, playing a very efficient game while taking some shots to stretch the field a bit.
We're seeing Kirk get better with moving in the pocket. We're seeing when Kirk's at his best, when he can step up into the pocket and go for his second or third read and make those smart throws with it and not necessarily lock into one receiver and try to fit the ball down the field like he was trying to do earlier in the season. His decision-making has improved for sure.
I did not go with Irv Smith, and it's not because of anything that he didn't necessarily
do. It's the unimpressive stat line, right?
Yes, and I'm not going to blame that on him at all. He had 2 touchdowns, but he had 2 receptions for 10 yards. But when you're running the ball,
got in his hands, it was a touchdown.
When you're running the ball and your first string starting running back has 22 carries for 206 yards, and he averages damn near 10 yards a carry, that's insane. So why would you throw it? I mean, I understand the formula. Dalvin Cook, 22 carries, 206 yards, averaged 9.4, and he broke one for 70. Which, by the way, I know the guy had some tackles yesterday, but fuck you, J-Ron Curse. Talking all that shit on the side.
He was within 0.2 of a yard of breaking the franchise record of yards per play.
Wow.
We have to talk about it here because it was up here in the comments earlier, and I just want to address it. Not because we want to be spiteful. I got my little petty comment out just now, but surprised that I forget who said that up here. I'm surprised.
Everson Griffin said it.
Ev and Adrian didn't play better. I think they're past their prime, man. I think we could not shockingly say that. I love the guys to death. I don't know why Everson Griffin came into this game with such a chip on his shoulder, bro. Like, if anything, you need to be pissed at Dallas for cutting your ass. They're terrible, and they said we don't need you. So I don't know. Adrian Peterson was super respectful yesterday. He had a lot of good stuff to say about Dalvin Cook, which I love hearing. But
yeah,
Adrian is quietly trying to get back on the good graces with Minnesota. I think he's kind of coming to terms with the fact that his time in the NFL is going to be coming up here pretty soon, and he wants to get that sweet autograph money where he can charge $200 a signing back in Minnesota, get himself in the Vikings Ring of Honor Hall of Fame, because he's going to be a Viking for all of that. So I think part of that is with him. Actually, my donkey, if we can segue into this, I'm doing it. I'm Everson Griffin. Man, I love you. Your comments this week are ridiculous.
Yeah, he's just trying to find a fire, and if that's what it takes him to find a little bit of fire, that's okay. You got to motivate yourself any way you can, but you motivate that to yourself. You don't motivate it through the media.
He's at the bottom of all this yesterday defensively.
Right. I believe if you're going to talk to the media like that, you got to back it up. You got to back it up on the field.
1 solo tackle, 3 total on the day, and 1 pass defended.
And he was yelling at both sidelines the entire game.
Oh, it's so annoying, man. I'm not about that. If there was some bad blood, but it's even like when Adrian Peterson left, he kind of talked a little bit of shit on the way out, and it's like, bro, we paid you for a year when you made a total bruise on the face of the franchise for what you did. Like, come on, man. Like, Mike Zimmer, that's the best comment that Mike Zimmer could have made. Not the whole like, I never meant anything malicious, dude. He made you a captain. That guy right there made you a captain. Come on, bro. But it is what it is. My donkey's going to Austin Cutting because he was fucking up the special teams yesterday. When you're in the business of looking for a long snapper, that's not a good sign. And when Dan Bailey and Britton Colquitt are 2 of the best at what they do, and you're having an effect on that in any way, shape, or form, get out. Fix your stuff, man.
For me, it's KJ Osborne. I don't understand why he's getting return gigs when he's not returning or losing yards on returns, and I don't know. He let the ball bounce for way too long instead of picking it up or trying to take it down, thinking it was going to go in the end zone, and it clearly wasn't. And to make matters worse, Osborne isn't a part of this offense, so he is there primarily based on his special teams ability, which so far I was very keen on in college. I was very high on his return skills and his special teams play, but so far that experiment has been an absolute dud.
Kick returns, he's okay at best. There's 4 kick returns yesterday. Longest was 26, which was all right. Average 19.8. Punt returns are a nightmare.
26, so he managed to get 1 yard past where they would have got if it would have bounced in the end zone.
Right, exactly. And that's the whole part of that's a kick return, so you should know better than that. Here's the shitty part. punt returns, one yesterday for -3 yards.
Yep.
You got to be better than that, dude. Ugh, frustration.
And I like the kid. I see the potential in him. But this was not his game, and it highlighted some of the problems that he's been having since he came in this year. So, yeah, I like him, but I kind of feel bad the team's wasting a roster spot on him right now when there are other players out there that are on the practice squad or on the sideline that could use a little bit more attention.
These are good questions you guys have in the chat. I'm gonna segue these while Mew makes an appearance up top.
Bernie Cat.
Can Kirk heat up and get hot? I don't think that he necessarily needs to get hot as per se. I just really want him to keep doing what he's doing now. When you have a quiet 3 touchdown, no interception, 141.7 rating day, that's good. That's okay. And he only threw the ball 20 times. So that's the formula, man. Whenever he has to throw the ball 30-plus times, they're probably digging themselves out of a hole they don't want to be in. And I don't like that Kirk Cousins at all, which is a great point up here Andrew made. How many 300-yard games does Cousins have in him per year that's actually a win? And I would say those are probably even in wins and losses.
I mean, you can argue, why are you paying as much money for a quarterback as you are if you're not going to consistently throw the ball? But at the same time, with Cook playing as well as what he is, you see the success Minnesota has when they can run the football on the ground. So, yeah, I get it. You're paying a lot of money for him to hand off the football. On the flip side,
no flipping.
No flipping. On the flip side, though, what do you want the Vikings to do? I mean, I don't. Do you want?
I want them to use this team efficiently to get wins, and if that's what it takes. Look, we've already been over this, and this isn't to undermine anything that you're saying. So when I say that, don't think that it's.
No, not at all.
You have to try to win games, and if you are absolutely stuck with this quarterback, which this team is, do what you got to do to win. And so, when things are comfortable for him and he doesn't have the pressure of, oh, shit, the game's on me, I have to make every throw and I have to be mistake-free and I have to not have fumbles and sacks. Hey, man, I'm just turning around and hand it to this guy and he's going to build the rest of the game for me. Do it.
Kirk Cousins doesn't need to be that bombing quarterback that takes a lot of risks and throws the deep ball constantly. And what he needs to do is he needs to be an efficient quarterback. The first half of this season, Kirk Cousins was leading the NFL in interceptions.
Ugh.
That's because he was trying to be the shootout king when they were trying to come back from some of these games where they were just in a hole way too early, trying to force things, trying to make things happen. We're seeing a lot more comfortable Kirk Cousins playing from the pocket, making some good throws, making some reads. And yeah, they're not going to be deep, long bombs like we've seen earlier in the season during those blowouts. But what we're going to see is we're going to see a more efficient pass game. The ones that we saw in this game where, yeah, they might not have reached the sticks early, but guess what? When you set up a 3rd and 3, it's way easier than a 3rd and 10.
Can we talk about that too, transitioning from last year to this year when you had Stefanski as OC, Gary Kubiak was helping, but he wasn't the actual coordinator for real. You can see how they do that over in Cleveland, right? They had 2 star wide receivers, just like the Vikings did. You got a game manager quarterback. That's pretty much what Baker Mayfield is. You can throw the ball all over the damn place if you have the talent, and they have that over there. That's why they're improved this year. But when Kubiak really takes over and he really does this zone scheme and run, this is what the team is. This is what the team was in 2012. And now I'm not going to call Kirk Cousins Christian Ponder. I'm not going to go that far. But you got a star running back, probably the best in the league. You turn around and hand it to him 20 times a game, 25 times a game, and you just make the throws you have to make to convert third downs to first down. I mean, it's a simple formula. It's just the execution, and that's what you were talking about. Everyone is talking about in the comments, right? I don't like that he's overpaid, but if we can find a niche where he doesn't turn the ball over, because he already has 10 interceptions on the year. We're only halfway done. That's terrible. So find a way where he doesn't do that.
For a while there, it looked like he was going to venture into Jameis territory.
Oh,
yeah, I'm
really
glad they
bad.
backed up. I'm glad they backed up and found a run game for him to kind of back off from that awful thing. Here's the thing about Kirk Cousins, though. the part of the reason why they're paying him as much money is that he has shown the ability to step up and win a game for this team if necessary. Now, I don't necessarily think that you clearly, based on how the season started, you don't want him throwing it around every single game. But he can, if the chips get down, you can let Kirk Cousins step back and put the ball in his hands. And I do think you can trust him to go out there and help you win a game.
You guys are on fire in the chat. These are all great points, and you're helping make the show right now. John Young says slant screens, play action, which I had up earlier.
That's a great recipe for any quarterback.
It really is. There's not a lot of thinking involved. There's not a lot of holding onto the ball for a very long time. Mike says, I don't want to be one-dimensional. And Andrew has a great follow-up here. You take away those and you leave the down-the-field stuff, you get bad Kirk. Yeah, I don't want him to force anything. I don't want that to happen. When these receivers have time to get separation and Kirk is protected, that passing game is going to be just fine. And with the emergence of Irv Smith coming around and Kyle Rudolph kind of taking a back seat, you got targets to catch the ball. And Dalvin Cook, let's not get him out of that conversation either. He can catch the ball in the backfield. That miss that he had yesterday on was it Trey Flowers? Is that who was in yesterday? Who was the guy? Who was the linebacker? Jamie Collins. My bad. Jamie Collins. I mean, he was a household name with the Patriots, and he put him on skates. So you got weapons for the guy. You just gotta get it to him. You kind of have to talk nice to Kirk, and you kind of have to pet him and say, "Hey, man, just do this little thing for me, right? We'll get there."
But we do need to talk about how nice it is to have guards on the field that can pull.
Yeah.
Because as much as I enjoy trying out some of these other offensive linemen that the Minnesota tried to plug in there, they just aren't as athletic as these other guys that can pull and open up holes on the side. Because we saw even the left side, which isn't, as far as I'm concerned, the stronger side with the run blocking.
Right.
When they would pull and Ezra Cleveland would come over, and then they'd have the extra blocking from C.J. Ham, and they'd have blocking out front from Irv Smith. Those running lanes ended up being pretty clean, and the ones he did have to squeeze through, once Cook squeezed through those, it was some pretty clear sailing.
Yeah, and Cook has good vision, so you give him a little bit of a lane, and he's able to move through it.
Prayers up for Jamie Collins' ankles. Yeah, he put him on skates yesterday. This is a good one, too. It is what it is. Best case scenario is Titans-esque, which we could totally be. And that's fine. They were an AFC championship team last year. Probably won't win a Super Bowl, but I don't think this team's capable of winning a Super Bowl, especially not at this point in time with the roster that they have. But to watch what they were playing as and those heartbreaking losses against the Titans and the Seahawks, you bring those back around, this team is what? Take 2 away, add 2, they're 5-3. So you're right there in the thick of things, and I think that's what this team is. I think with the drop-off of talent that either went to another team or had COVID go away, the Vikings were going to step back just a tad. But that's actually very good, John. This is a Titans-esque NFC equivalent. I like that. Fun fact, speaking of the Titans, for the last 18 games, Ryan Tannehill has the highest passer rating of any quarterback in the last 18 games since he started for the Tennessee Titans, which is crazy to say.
Yeah, the Vikings without 6 Pro Bowlers on defense from last year. So, yeah, there's going to be some turnover. And guess what? Both starting corners from the start of the season, they weren't on the field on Sunday either.
Andrew, do you like honey ham? Do you like sweetened ham? Do you like uncured or cured ham? Do you like it in a sandwich? How do you like your ham? Terrible dad jokes. I will be here all day as nobody says a word. Thank you for tuning into the show, everyone.
I got to choose this honey glazed because I like honey glazed.
Honey glazed. I had like 7 ham sandwiches this weekend because I'm a child and I didn't want to leave this hotel room. So I feel you on that.
If you ain't got to cook, why not?
Can we talk? We're talking about ham.
I'll eat cereal.
Winning ham. What's your ham sandwich consist of? Mine is cheese with mustard. What about you guys?
Oh, you got to put mustard with. I like mustard with turkey.
Good point. Critical questions. Good answer here.
I got to put lettuce on everything.
That's fair. I like a little crunch for that. My crunch usually doesn't come in the form of lettuce. I usually put barbecue chips on there, and that was our.
Oh, you go healthy with it. All right.
Post swimming meal when you're a child. Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to get diabetes tomorrow over here.
Who's
But yeah, this is all around.
Minus the condiment world.
Oh, we could talk about that all day. We could do snacks all day here.
All right, quick Survival League update. Guess what? Nobody got a strike. We're on to next week. Go get your decisions in. And we're still 16 deep playing for those prizes. So get in there and let's make it happen. That's a quick update.
It's a very quick update. Overall, I think wrapping this game summary up yesterday, if you listen to Mike Zimmer's locker room speech, he says, hey, look, we took care of the ball. We didn't turn it over. We forced turnovers. There were 3 interceptions. If you watch the broadcast, I'm just stealing the notes from them. Up until this game, the Vikings only had 3 interceptions on the year, and they got 3 yesterday in one game. So that was really good. Harrison Smith, Eric Kendricks, and Eric Wilson all took the ball away. 2 in the red zone, by the way. Shout out to the linebackers playing their ass off yesterday. But the Vikings are now 2-1 in the division, and they are slowly coming into form. This Bears game worries me just because they, for some reason, once they get that little sphere where Soldier Field lies, they just tend to have like a Patrick Star from SpongeBob moments. Like, what do I do? Like, I don't get it. But hopefully they can keep this up. The Bears look putrid on offense. They look awful. Biscuit is hurt, so he is not going to play.
We always have problems with them.
Always. And that defense, don't get it twisted. Even for how bad the offense is, that defense is nasty. They have some great players on that team. So,
but the Vikings are turning things around. I mean, they just got their first win at US Bank Stadium this season. So that's nice to see because I was really wondering if that was going to happen this year because that's usually their strong suit is playing in front of that crowd at US Bank Stadium. And it was not the case so far this season. So hoping for a turnaround there. Mm-hmm. And I think that we might see a little bit of a little different Mike Zimmer coached Minnesota Vikings team when they head to the Windy City.
Hopefully you can keep this. The problem here is going to be, can the offense step up against an elite defense? You don't ask Kirk to win the game. I think it's possible. Just got to get a little creative. Special teams can't do what they were doing. For sure, because maybe the weather might come into play, but
those block punts just killers.
And that's the thing, thank God, I think at least one of those turned into a turnover immediately from Stafford, but you can't do that against a team that will like to chew up the clock and play old school just like the Vikings want to do, because the Bears don't have a lot going for them, knock on wood. Which I didn't think I'd say this after that 38-7 debacle a couple of years back, but I'm actually happy that Nick Foles is playing because Trubisky seems to play his best football against the Vikings. It's annoying, but he's going to be out. He's got a shoulder injury. So here we go. John Young's playing. He's playing coach for this one. First play of the game should be play action deep, kind of like the Lions did, right? They started off with a huge pass attempt to start the game. Mm-hmm. And Andrew, I don't know how Stafford got that concussion. I did remember, and then I forgot.
Well,
I don't know.
The third different team Adrian Peterson's played for is he's played against the Vikings, and he's lost all 3 of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go, guys. Have at it. Have at this question.
People trying to make Chad Beebe happen.
I'm just happy the young man is getting paid for a year. He's making a lot more money than I probably made in my lifetime playing this year. So that's
honestly, they might as well put him back there in place of Osborne because
it can't be much worse.
At least Osborne is not getting turnovers. I guess he's holding on to the football when he's getting creamed behind the line where he catches it.
But yeah, looking forward, previewing this Bears game. The Vikings are going to Chicago. It's Monday Night Football, the primetime game, which has been the bane of Kirk Cousins' existence for his entire career. So that's fun. The Bears are on a skid right now, looking at their schedule. So they lost to the Titans yesterday. They lost to the Saints. They lost to the Rams. The last time they won was October the 18th against the Panthers. They did squeak out a win against the Buccaneers, which was really weird. But right now, if I'm looking, they have – I'd have to go back to the Tankathon. I'm not counting all those out loud. I don't feel like doing that. The draft order will tell me where the Bears sit right now. Chicago's 5-4. So the Vikings are 3-5. So that would put them, if the Vikings win at 4-5, and then Chicago would be 5-5, and then the division will slowly start to change. As Adam mentioned earlier, Detroit is now in the bottom of the NFC North, which is a lot of fun.
It's good to see. I know that a lot of fans wanted the tankathon. I know they wanted a great draft pick, but I like that this team is being a respectable team and not in the dumpster of the NFC and the NFL and in the bottom of power rankings everywhere and a laughing stock and a team that people are joking off. I can't do that.
Wow, I'm still in this tankathon. This has nothing to do with what you just said, but I remember you're updating the Survival League, and I'm looking at the draft order right now is the Jets. They haven't won a game. Jacksonville's only won one. You know the one game that they won? Gave me my second or first strike of the year. My first strike of the year. Right? Yep, I picked the Colts to kill them, and yeah, the Colts are 5-3. One of those 3 losses came to Jacksonville. Damn it, Minshew.
What happens with Jacksonville? It's like they put together a good team, and you're like, man, Jacksonville's going to be legit. And then they just go, you know what? Let's just fuck it. Let's just break this whole thing apart.
Yeah, it looked like you've got this really good team where they're one quarterback away from being competitors.
That's it.
And the defense gets sick of being there. Some of them start demanding a trade. Others become free agents and don't want to sign there.
Yeah.
And then the team just ultimately implodes to where the only way that they can have talent left is by drafting it and hoping that they stick around.
Yeah.
This is just off the top of my head, but they had Calais Campbell, Yannick Ngakoue, Jalen Ramsey, Leonard Fournette, and I forget they had a really good wide receiver. They still do.
Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson. They do have DJ Chark right now. Holy shit, man! What a good point. At least we're not that team or the Lions. Oh God!
I mean, you could argue that with the Vikings after last year. I mean, you look at Linval Joseph and Everson Griffin and Trey Waynes and Xavier Rhodes and Stephon Diggs and
you could, but the Vikings have won a couple games. I mean, these guys are on 7. They've lost 7 games in a row.
The Diggs thing kind of worked out for both parties.
Yeah, I think so.
You know that? I mean, Diggs
it's a little too soon to say that for me, but I think it's going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, it is early, but I mean, when we look at it right now, I would say both teams are happy with what they got. I think.
Yeah, Buffalo's on the upward trend, and good for them, rightfully so. I mean, that team's been terrible for God knows, like 2 decades. But hey, it is what it is. He won it out, so see you later. We'll replace you, and we did in the draft. And I love what I see out of that kid. So
yeah,
that's fine. John Young says we beat the Bears at Soldier Field Monday Night Football, and I will fully be on the playoff train, and hopefully, unfortunately, be high, knowing they will probably be crushed.
Yeah.
I'm going into this game thinking they're going to lose, and if we win, we'll have a 3-game winning streak, and they'll be right at 500, and they will absolutely be in the thick of things for the playoffs. Now, the cool thing about this is if they win, based on the timing of the season, they will have enough of a chance to get in there as long as they don't beat themselves. It's kind of like do what you can kind of deal. I forget the saying that people always use. Hey, we control our own destiny, right? That's stupid cliche crap. Well, that's going to be what it is. So
let's take a second to talk about this game against the Bears because this unseasonably warm weather is not going to play to the advantage of Chicago like those late season matchups in Chicago of the past. Mm-hmm. At this point, usually I've got 2.5 feet, 2 feet of snow on the ground here.
Yep.
And now I've got the windows open and the fans going.
This will also be just like the Green Bay game 2 weeks ago. If the Vikings win, this will be Kirk Cousins' first win against Chicago since arriving here. So hopefully it seems like the year where that could happen. I don't think this is going to be a 50 burger by any means. I mean, with the way Dalvin Cook's running, anything can happen. This team can do whatever they want. But, hopefully.
I don't want to in Chicago because if it starts getting windy, that does play into the game of the Minnesota Vikings. It does. Mm-hmm.
Right now, the Vikings are a favorite, which I do not like. I like them as the underdog, but that's cool. There's some respect there, which you can appreciate. Who else loves Kirk Cousins?
A second, because the betting lines are really weird for the NFL this year. Because in the past, home field advantage was like 3 points automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Now, home field advantage isn't what home field advantage was in the past. You don't have that stadium packed with fans to try to make things noisy, draw teams offside, or delay a game. Because I've been a fan in those stadiums, especially US Bank Stadium. I've been a fan in there, and I've been extremely annoyingly loud. And when the opposing team jumps off sides or gets a delay game or is forced to call a timeout because they can't get the play in, you feel like a part of the team, man. You really do.
Or when they only put 10 men on the field and their running back from the other team scores a 70-yard touchdown.
Not
Fuck
good.
you, Detroit. Oh, and that's a good stat right here too. Kirk this would be his first Monday Night Football win. Yeah, if the game doesn't come down to him, I mean, I won't say like he can't make a game-winning throw. He can hold that New Orleans playoff game in everybody's face for the rest of his life. But as long as the game doesn't rest entirely on his shoulders, I think they have a good chance. So we'll see. But so what? Back to your stuff about betting lines, Adam. So you're saying if two teams come up very evenly matched, normally in a regular NFL season, it'll go to the home team if they have a home field advantage.
Right, because the home field advantage usually counts for 3 points. But with this season, with it being so strange, you're seeing some home field advantages being as little as 1 point for Vegas based on their home field and the amount of fans they're allowed to let in.
That makes sense.
And right now, Minnesota is still at no fans
right
for the games. But yeah, so the home field advantage, you can't really say that's 3 points at US Bank Stadium because it's basically a neutral playing field because there is no elements. There is no crowd noise other than what's pumped in, and that's pumped in constantly. So it's not like it's in favor of one team or the other. It's just odd.
Yeah, it'll be a much simpler time. Maybe next season they can start getting fans back. And I couldn't tell you this. I've seen this on Twitter. It happened with college football this weekend. We got all the election stuff that's going on, and everybody is up in arms about masks or no mask. And then Notre Dame beats Clemson because their backup quarterback was playing, and everyone rushes the field. And it looks really, really bad. Then people celebrate because the Associated Press has announced a winner and that there might be, hey, this is over, the election's over. Then people start rushing the streets in major cities. It's like, cool. Somebody actually said on Twitter, well, why can't the Vikings have people? This doesn't make any sense. It's like, okay, just because one team says that they're going to allow certain people in, like, why did the Vikings have to get on board with that? I'm actually okay with the Vikings not having fans there this year with how crazy, especially at the Titans. The Titans have just been so up and down about this COVID stuff. Like, hey, man, just say across the board we're not going to do any fans this year because we're just going to take that precaution. I wouldn't be upset about it.
It'd be disappointing because I am a fan who I try to go to one game every year. So the fact that I can't really get to go to an NFL game this year at US Bank Stadium is a little sad, but I understand it.
Right. Yeah, I do. We don't have to agree with it. I don't like it either. I can't say that even because I got to see a Viking game this year, but it just happened to be close by. If they did that in the name of safety, I wouldn't have to agree with it, but I would understand why. You got to take precautions, man. And God forbid somebody like Dalvin Cook or Justin Jefferson be on that COVID list. Because it's coming down to like, oh man, we need one more win and it's crucial, and they're not playing that game. Like that would suck. So
we'll be in the playoffs. We'll be in the playoffs, and Dalvin Cook will be forced to miss a game because of COVID. Because that's the most Vikings shit to happen.
You know what? If that means they made the playoffs this season wouldn't be a wash. That's okay with me.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
That's a good point because the way this starting out 1-5 and then making the turnaround is. That would be quite impressive. Mike Zimmer could literally throw up both middle fingers and be like, hey, fuck all you guys. All right, I did the best I could with what I had. But
when you got the Vikings, 275 rushing yards from the two running backs this week? It's insane.
You know he loves that too. That's the kind of game that he wants this team to have as a coach. That's exactly what he wanted. That's awesome. Well, that's all I got for these games coming up. Vikings are on a hot streak. Dalvin Cook is on fire, and yeah, Bears game, Monday Night Football. Let's go Vikings.
Just keep enjoying it.
It's going to be weird not having the Vikings on Sunday morning, or Sunday afternoon, I guess I should say. But, yeah, it's going to be weird. But we will be on Discord again, and we will be chatting. And I love that we've got some people in there that enjoy going in there and hanging out and chatting during the game, because I can share some cool gifs. I can give some weird facts. I can share some of the best tweets that I see while I'm watching the game. And it's nice to talk to everybody, especially right here during our live broadcasts, and the people that comment after the show. We do read the comments that you guys post, and we do appreciate everything that you guys do for us.
I'm going to answer this because some people might listen to this in the podcast version. They don't have the visual right now because we have this up on the screen for StreamYard. Shout out to StreamYard because I love this format. John Young says Kirk Cousins or Nick Foles. I'm going to answer your question with the question and then answer your question. Do you want Nick Foles and all the surrounding talent to include the coaches from Philly in 2017? Or do you want the Rams Nick Foles, the current Chicago Bears Nick Foles? I think in this system, Nick Foles would be awesome. However, the Jaguars Nick Foles, forgot about that, didn't you? He got hurt and was out for a year. You know what? Kirk is never hurt. So to answer your question, would take Kirk Cousins.
I don't find either of them to be particularly attractive, but Kirk Cousins does have that sponsorship with Pizza Ranch, so I'll take Nick Foles.
Oh, no. I'd rather have Kirk because he's available. But, yeah, I'm going with Adam. If I had to eat a shit sandwich or drink pee out of a cup, I'm pretty much not going to want to do either one of those. Especially not for $84 million. I'm still.
And by the way, the full skull chant would be even better if he were a member of the Minnesota Vikings. Now, that would be fun.
Mm-hmm. I am going to take Kirk Cousins to get us to the playoffs, and then Nick Foles once we're in the playoffs.
Nick Foles is a great backup. He can come in and play some great games when substituting in for someone else. We talked about this. You guys have a lot of good comments.
Case Keenum.
I love Case, man. And I know Nick Foles won a Super Bowl, but he did have a fantastic team around him and a great coach at the time. John Young, again, says, I honestly miss Case in his contract. Yeah, you guys were talking about Teddy up there earlier in the show, and like, are we sad or happy that Teddy's, thriving? I'm like, well, of course we're sad because we wish he was here, but I don't think he'd have the same success here.
I'm so happy for the kid.
I'm happy that he's found a way to fill in there, and they compete. They almost beat the Chiefs in Kansas City yesterday. So that's cool. Kyle West for the win. There you go.
Happy. You betcha.
And Teddy even got his best weapon back on his team, so maybe that team will be a little bit more dangerous now. And Teddy was playing well when he wasn't there, and you know what? He'll play well now that he's there.
They signed Jarius Wright, their best weapon.
I was about to say, Teddy Bridgewater's making Robbie Anderson a household name this year, so good for him. Good for him.
Whenever people say Robbie Anderson, in my head, I hear Robbie Williams, the singer.
Oh, God. How do you get those two from one from the other? That's just where your brain goes. Know.
This is what happens in my brain.
That's funny. I named my dog Teddy, and he got let go 1 week later. Oh, that sucks. Ugh. Well,
now, you mean Teddy Bridgewater, the player, not Teddy the dog, right? You didn't release your dog.
Yeah. Hopefully you fed that dog and took care of it, and it's still a part of your family. Oh, God.
We're hoping. Fingers crossed.
Well, here you go, guys.
I'll try not to talk about punching puppies in the Discord chat this week.
Yeah, don't hurt my heart like that, guys. I have this handle right here on Instagram for a reason, all right? I love the puppies. They pay the bills, all right? That's a shameless promotion for you to follow me on Instagram because I have nothing else going on in my life. And we're at the promotion part of this episode, so we're going to do that. I'm also going to selflessly and shamelessly promote this here. I deactivated my Facebook because this election shit has literally pushed me to the limit where I want to jump off a building, and I am sick of it. I still have my messenger to keep up with these guys, keep up with friends, but I'll tell you right now, I schedule everything for this StreamYard stuff, right? And if you subscribe right here to our YouTube page, it's right there for you. That little notification bell is going to go off, and it's going to tell you, hey, the Purple People Podcast. And it's usually about a day in advance. We're trying to do it on Mondays. When we have Thursday night games, it'll be Friday, and Monday night.
Great job scheduling these shows to let people know in advance approximately when we're going live.
Like the Monday night game coming up, obviously we don't play on Sunday, so it'll be the day after. So Tuesday, next week, we're going to get a show together for you guys, as long as our schedules permit. So if you subscribe to our YouTube channel with that little bell up there in the top right corner, it'll let you know when we're going live. And I'm not just going to pop up and do a random show unless some crazy thing happens where, Aaron Rodgers decided to leave Green Bay and sign with Minnesota. We might do a pop-up show then. But we're going to schedule everything out. And the Facebook page is still up. We ask social media questions there and interact with people, and we do everything on these. So go ahead and get on that train, and you could be a part of these cool comments like Andrew and John, Viking Jerome, and Skullprod. You know where else you should check out? TheVikingAge.com. That's where you should go.
Yeah, there's some good stuff over there. I should be writing right now, but instead I am holding on to this orange cat right here on my desk and talking here on the Purple People Podcast, and I enjoy that. But there's some cool stuff over on the Viking Age right now. I've got a nice piece on the best and worst from the Vikings game against the Lions. And while there was a lot of stuff that I really loved, there was some things that didn't quite put a smile on my face. And if you were with me in the Discord chat, you probably know some of them, but I highly recommend you heading over there and click through my article, because that's a great way to support me and help me pay my bills, because bills are going to be piling up this winter when that snow starts piling up. I haven't been on Twitch in a while. Once again, I am going to start trying to be on there a little bit more often, playing some Jackbox games. And I am considering picking up a copy of Overwatch to play. So if you're a PC gamer and you play Overwatch, maybe we could hook that up and play sometime. Over on Undead Walking, we are closing in on the mid-season finale of Fear the Walking Dead. Well, World Beyond still has about 4 weeks left, or 3 weeks left, before its season 1 finale. Again, World Beyond is committed to a 2-season run because it isn't a long-form show. It is just a small series. So make sure to, if you're a fan of the undead and the zombies, head on over to undeadwalking.com. And I've got my updated list of all the deaths from each of those seasons of Fear the Walking Dead Season 6 and World Beyond Season 1, as well as my review of World Beyond, which I got to admit I'm starting to get a little bit more skeptical of, and my reviews are getting a little bit more bitter. So if you're not really feeling it as much as I am, head on over there and let me know in the comments. If you're still really loving it, let me know there as well. But yeah, it's a good time to not only be a Vikings fan after these couple wins, but there's also a lot of zombie shows and a lot of cool stuff happening. So support me if you can, and I appreciate it.
I have to piggyback and dovetail and just go ahead and reiterate here with all those stupid terms that I love to say every episode. You got to support these guys, and I'm going to put Kyle West stuff up here, and I'll always do this for my friends because I love them to death. Go to the Viking Age, go to Undead Walking, comment under a story that you find that Adam has wrote under, and it'll pump his numbers up, and you'll help pay his bills. I mean, it's that simple. It doesn't cost you anything either. That's the best part.
And maybe next week I'll give you guys my OnlyFans.
There we go. What happens is he will drip a cheeseburger juice down, and you'll have to pay for the rest. But you get where this is going, right? If you do have a little money that you want to spend, commercial? What's that?
Like the old Paris Hilton Hardee's commercial?
Yes, you got it. All those tiny models and these big fat burgers that they don't eat because all they eat is lettuce and ice cubes. That's cool. If you do have money you want to spend, though, you should go on over to Redbubble right here for Mr. Kyle West, because you know what you can get there? One of these badass Purple People podcast shirts I've been promising to wear for the last month.
Yeah,
didn't a winner of a prize contest get one of those shirts last year?
I did. I paid for that.
Or was it a hoodie?
I believe it might have been a hoodie. Whatever they wanted. If you win the Survival League, which Adam's not going to do you any favors, which he's repeatedly said this year, If you win the Survival League, I will be personally buying you one of these, whatever you want. Hoodie, long sleeve, short sleeve, whatever. Your size and color of your choosing. So, but you can find him at this website right here. And he's got a lot of cool stuff there, man. A lot of cool stuff.
I do. You should check it out. I just sold some stuff today. So occasionally people like my junk. You might too. Go take a look. Go take a look.
I like that Mr. Smith's wearing a Purple People podcast shirt. You've got a Viking shirt, and I'm wearing a Necronomicon shirt.
Nice.
Just doesn't really fit in too well. But yeah, on that note, I do want to thank everyone for tuning in. Make sure to head on over to Kyle West's store. Check out the Phantasm Digital Shop on Redbubble.
Yeah.
It's a really cool place to pick up some holiday gifts because that should kind of be in your mind a little bit right now.
I got to give a shout out to John Young. I shamelessly put my Instagram up, and he already shot me a follow, and we're talking right now, man. That's awesome. So if you guys want to talk Viking football, we can promote other things, and this just coming together. And I'm stealing Adam's line here, and I will never steal your sign off unless you're not here. So don't worry.
Go for it.
This whole unity that we have.
I'm not going to say it now.
Oh, come on, man. I'm feeling it right now because the Vikings are winning. It's that time of year. We're in the holiday season, and it's nice to have, even though we're all apart right now, we can do this digitally because Vikings football brings us together. And, in a world that's just nuts right now, we have a common ground where it's all happy. You know what I mean? So this is a lot of fun, and I look forward to this every week. And the more that you guys keep jumping in, Andrew and John Young and Fire Breather, what's up, dude? Sorry you joined in late. You should definitely listen to the whole show. Though I think this is one of the best episodes we've had. A lot of interaction, but all these guys, man, it's just a fun time, and I look forward to this every week. Got to give it to Adam though. He's gonna sign us off, man. I can't.
I told you I ain't doing it, so we're living in silence till it's.
We're just gonna sit here until Adam says it. You got to do it.
Oh, cool.
Adam.
So both of you guys will gang up here on me, and that's fine.
So, did you guys read any good books lately?
We appreciate everyone that participated today. It's a very interactive chat. You guys help us make the show. Tune in next Tuesday, tentatively, may be rescheduled, but if you hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel, it'll let you know. Just tune in next Tuesday, and we'll recap this Bears game and see if the Vikings can't get closer to 500 on the season. Stay safe, and remember, everybody, to stay classy, Minnesota.